Between Life and Death by Jaclyn. Chapter 52. Shield wall, I yelled at the top of my heaving lungs as I plunged the base of my long shield into the muddy ground. I was tired, exhausted, but I would not stand down. My soldiers answered as they fell in beside me, their shields biting down, the sides braced against one another, locking them into place. Another row of shields fell into place above us, creating a second layer, and then a third, forming a protective barrier over our heads. One shield alone was weak, but together, like this, they were as tough as a dragon's scales. We held tight, a single breath falling from my lips as I braced for impact. This battle was one of many taking place across Gaia, our beloved living realm. I could not speak for the other battles, but this one had been raging on for days, and now we were in our final moments. My power reserves were fully tapped out, as were the rest of my comrades. After a brief break in the fighting, we were able to reform our ranks, and now we were down to the nitty-gritty of battle, fighting with swords, with our fists, with whatever we had left. The enemy charged with the wind at their backs. We held our position, our feet firmly rooted to the ground as the army, who fought for the old gods, collided into mine. I tugged my shield to the side, rendering a fist-sized gap as I shoved my sword through it, feeling the iron blade sink deeply into my enemy's flesh. I pulled on my sword, utilizing my shield as leverage to tug it free. I closed the gap, took a breath, and then forced my sword through again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Forward, I bellowed. A mighty grunt arose from my army of 5,000. As we gained, the ground shifting from mud to mud mixed with blood to the corpses of our enemy. The wall was holding. I took a deep, necessary breath. We might win this one. If he didn't show up. But my thoughts of victory were short-lived. I heard the phantom horses, monstrous beasts that had no place thinking they were horses at all. The galloping of their hooves grew louder, louder, until it was all I could hear. Like thunder sprung from the clouds, coming to strike us down. They barreled into our front line, throwing the soldier beside me flat on his back, running him over as they stampeded through, creating gaps in our otherwise impenetrable wall. Before I could order someone to close the line, a boy, too young to be fighting in this war, grabbed a shield and jumped in beside me. He looked up at me, young eyes full of fear and determination. I didn't have time to question what he was doing here. Didn't have time to get him out, not when we were in battle. The best I could do for him, for all of them, was to fight. More horses stampeded into our wall, throwing my brethren back, leaving us exposed, allowing the enemy to penetrate through. The boy's suddenly gone. Hold the wall, yelled my general, his voice cut off. I looked behind me just in time to watch him fall to the enemy's blade, his head swiped clean from his neck in one final, fatal swoop. No! I screamed, my gloved hand outstretched. A horse barreled into me, its sinister red eyes burning into my mind. I flew backwards, my head smashing into something that was far harder than my helmet. A sharp sound pierced my hearing, followed by a constant ringing, the sounds of battle muffled out. I could feel the warmth of my blood seep down my neck as I stared up at the swirling, cloudy sky. Massive white doves circled above. Reinforcements, they were coming. Aurelius was coming. We just needed to hold on a little longer. I closed my eyes, willing them to clear. I needed to find my sword to fight. When I opened them, they were no better than before, and the thrumming in my ears refused to ease. I grunted as I rolled onto my side, every bone in my body singing out in pain, begging me to stop, to rest. But I was relentless, and somehow, someway, I rolled onto my stomach. Saliva mixed with blood gobbed from my mouth. I spat it out. Black combat boots entered my vision before a hand, ringed with black and silver metal, tipped my chin upwards, forcing me to look up, to look at him, the tips of his canines glinting in the daylight. Your blood sings for me, little goddess. Blood king, I grated between clenched teeth, my hand aching for the hilt of my sword. He grabbed my arm roughly as he hauled me to my feet, his body so much larger than mine. I was reminded of his ancient, unparalleled power. He was the original predator, from his towering height to his muscular build to those dark, obsidian eyes. And then there was his hair, black as a starless night. He wore it up, weaved back, and tied, the sides shaved, battle ready. I've been searching for you. His fingers stroked my dirty cheek. I recoiled from his touch. My movement caused him to tip his head back and laugh, revealing those infamous canines. The bastard was enjoying this. Powerful, black wings unfurled behind him, the height of them double his own. Like his hair, they possessed that same black-blue color, and their shape, the outlay of the feathers, reminded me of a raven's. He pulled me against him, his hard edges as unyielding as his arm around my waist. I struggled, tried to shove him away, but his strength was insurmountable. His wings slammed upwards, and when they came back down, they severed the air as if they were a blade made of steel. The motion carried us off the ground and up towards the clouds. The battlegrounds winked out of sight, and my blood-stained world turned an azure blue. Reaching the peak of a mountainside, on the lip of a drastic cliff, he landed. I peered over the edge, my heart aching as I surveyed the bloody battlefield below. From this vantage point, it was like watching a bunch of scrambling, warring ants, their colonies, sorted by the color of their armor, the relentless, obsidian army slaughtering the army of snow. From this vantage point, I realized, we were going to lose. I glared up at him with the veracity of the god of hatred. Is this why you brought me up here? To gloat over your victory? To make me watch as my loyal men die? Partly, yes. Although, your judgment paints you as a hypocrite. The Blood King pinched my chin, forcing me to look at him. Tell me, when you murdered my men, when you bathed in the spray of their blood, he flashed a wicked smile. How did that feel? Did it feel good, darling? Did you take joy when you ended their lives and delivered them back to me? Because I think that rather strange. I would think that would counter the very point of your existence. Darkness swirled in his sinister eyes. Goddess of life. I spat in his face. You bastard. I did not take joy in it. I am the keeper of life, the guardian of the living. When you declared this war, you forced my hand. With every life you forced me to take, it has served but one purpose, to build my hatred for you. He clicked his tongue, and I wondered if I'd struck a nerve. Tipping his head, he brought his face closer to mine. What a pity. I thought you were rather fond of me. After all, goddess, you swamped my realm with so many, many gifts. Continuously, you send them to me, second after second, day after day, year after year, so many beautiful, departed lives. My heart ached. He continued, his smile as wicked as the black fighting leathers he wore. You see, I was beginning to think you were in love with me. I mean, you take such excellent care of my apple trees. In love with him? He stole everything from me. I hated him. You bastard, you know nothing of love. I seethed, glaring at him, my angry, unyielding gaze firmly meeting his. And you do? He challenged, his smooth, deep tone turning irritated. You have never loved him. And you know that, but you are too stubborn to admit it. I gritted my teeth. You are wrong. I love him. Deeply. Just as I love my people and they love me. It is because of them, because of their prayers, that I am made strong. That was when I felt it. The smallest trickle of my power slowly seeping into my depleted reservoir. It wasn't much, but it would have to be enough. Strong enough to finally end this. There, standing on the peak of a cliff, with his wind in my hair, I conjured my water blade, the molecules packed so tightly, it was almost like ice, except it was not cold. With a battle cry, I drove the blade through his leathers, twisting it into his stomach. I jolted back, my hands moving in front of me, conjuring another 10. They floated behind me, sharp, and ready to hit their target, to force him right off the edge of the cliff. But when I looked at his face, when I saw his expression, I couldn't do it. The expression he wore, it was made of pure shock. His ringed fingers dropped to his stomach, sweeping over the ichor staining my azure blade. He studied the crimson liquid as if it were the most mesmerizing thing he had ever seen. His eyes flashed to my face, but there was no anger in his voice, only curiosity. What sort of illusion is this? It is no illusion. Tell the truth. You spoke with the goddess of fate and learned of the prophecy. You thought to use it against me? He stated it more for himself than me, as if he were trying to piece together an answer. I have spoken to the goddess, but I do not know of whatever prophecy it is that you speak of. I answered, confusion weighing my brow. But then when I looked at the bloody wound, understanding lifted it. My voice softened, just a hair. So, the rumors are true then? Yes, they are true. I do not bleed, he stated as his hand wrapped around the hilt of my sword. He gritted his teeth as he pulled it out. He let out a small, disbelieving laugh, tangled with an exhaled breath, as he inspected the blade coated in his thick, red blood. His eyes shifted, meeting mine. Until now, blood came pooling out of the wound. He threw the blade onto the rocky, barren ground with such force, that it shattered into hundreds of tiny pieces, like it was made of glass. He strode towards me, and the wound grew, the flow of blood increasing the closer he got. But he did not stop. He didn't seem to care that he was bleeding out. I held my ground. I didn't move. I didn't unleash my swords, but I didn't disarm them either. When he was but a breath away, he captured my gaze. I am calling the war off. And why would you do that? I replied, my tone saturated in heavy disbelief. He reached forward, his fingers caressing a wisp of my hair that was beaded with mud, and streaked with blood. Since the dawn of time, I have spent millennia searching for an answer to the empty void inside. And now, at last, I have it. How fitting that she should be the very thing that can kill me. He let my hair fall to the side. And then the god of death was gone. In his place, a black feather remained.